Welcome to another episode of the program Issues of the Moment, coming to you live on television Nigerian. I am Ntem Ekbam. This is a program that brings on board burning issues of national interest, and we discuss them as they happen. Now, in the not too distant past, in the recent days and weeks, so many issues have come up. The national minimum wage, government saying, federal government saying we'll pay this, state governors saying we'll pay this, NSC saying we want this. Of course, there was the shared movement, and of course, there are so many things that have come up in the past weeks as we count down to 2019 and of course, general elections. People believe that most of those things that are coming up are directly related to the 2019 election, as it were, and don't forget the NLC is threatening to go on strike. So these are the issues we're going to be talking about under the auspices of Nigeria Matters Arising. And with me in the studio this time, I have Prince Sule Ikosami. He is an APC chieftain. Prince, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, it's an overload, as it were, to say, of things, activities in the national scene right now. But I think we should begin with the issue of the minimum wage.
Okay.
From 18,000, that's about $50-something. Pretty much low, everyone would say. Federal government is saying, okay, fine, you can pay 30,000. State governors are saying we can only pay 22,500 and all of that. What's your take on this?
It's the issue of welfare, which is, when you talk about minimum wage, I always like to term it the issue of welfare.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this very government is a very socially oriented government, because the government has engaged itself for a very long time into enhancing the social status of Nigeria. Just like you see, the way the president was involved in raising a lot of bailout to states, you know, just for them to be able to pay off the salaries. And of course, the government is taking decision. It has to plan whatever it does based on the income the government gets and based on the natural resources and the income that generally the government gets. And that's why there is always this lingering issue about negotiation, because the government has to look at its books and ensure that what it can pay is something it doesn't want to owe. Just like, you know, this government had to go borrow money, give it out to people that are owing because it was stolen in the past. People were not paid so that people could be paid salary. Even though it's a challenge in some states, but these are issues that, you know, will require a lot of constant negotiation, counter negotiation over and over to be able to get to the root of the matter. So that eventually the government, you know, is a friend of the workers. As you've always known, is a socially oriented government, is interested in the welfare of the people. So certainly this thing will be sorted, will sort itself out because of the ongoing discussion. Discussion has not ended, and it will continue to go on over time because the review will be constant. You have to review people's salary over some years. The minimum wage is an issue that is going to be ongoing. It's not going to be discussed today, and they will never increase it again. No, it has to continue over time. It has to be reviewed.
But do you think, what's your take? The whole world, Nigeria is second least paying in terms of minimum wage. Is that fair enough for a perceived giant of a continent like Africa?
You know, I would always like to discuss this on the context of the period that we are now in government.
Right.
This is a government that came into power just 3 years ago. And when he came to power 3 years ago, he had to battle with a lot of bastardization of our resources, our funds diversion, a lot of maladministration over the years of financing and several other things. But this government is has succeeded in bringing all this to the table by handling all this thing, ensuring that at least we pay our debt, we increase our reserve so that we can have a very strong buffered economy. We can also try to ensure that workers are paid and all that. Our GDP is still battling. We have been running like a mono economy government where the only income comes from oil. This government is diversifying the economy right now. We're talking about a lot of growth in other sectors that are non-oil. So it's a work in progress. And I'm telling you, over the years, if you watch how other people were able to get there and compare what we have actually gone through, you would think it's a miracle this country has been able to get to this pedestal at this stage in time.
The governors are predominantly under your party, the APC, and it would have been assumed that a party that is in power and that has majority of the governors would have had a very smooth sail in discussing this and harmonizing all of this. Why are we still, twisting and turning and all of that?
APC government is the government of Nigeria. It's not a government of either South or East or anywhere. It's the government of Nigeria. For the fact that we have predominant more number of governors does not mean that the negotiation of minimum wage has to now take a partisan approach. No. The minimum wage is a national issue. Even states that are not in APC states, they also have a challenge to manage this issue. So it's an issue that is holistic, it's a national issue. We don't try to bring politics anytime we are bringing the issue of minimum wage. The reason is just simple, because every worker, every Nigerian worker today is a Nigerian. You cannot be partisan in handling his or her salary. So that's why I always like to draw away from talking about politics when it comes to minimum wage, because minimum wage is a national issue. It's a patriotic statement for anybody to make, to say that workers' salaries or minimum wage needed to be reviewed. It's a national and a patriotic position. And every other person in the labor and in government will want to take that step always to ensure that we leave it as a national issue, and so it will remain.
Perchance on the 6th of November, the NLC embarks on strike. You know that this is a pre-election year. It will count as a minus for you. What in the instance, in the circumstance, do you think would be the best way out of this in order not to get to a total shutdown of government?
We're not there. We're not on the day of strike yet. NLC have issued a statement. They have been having a tripartite meetings over the years, over in the last several days, and it's still ongoing. And I can assure you, this is a listening government. I still have a feeling that eventually this will be sorted out. I don't want to talk about the internal issues going on in NLC or in government, but what I can tell you in particular very clear, that the government is very much on top of this issue. Lobbying, negotiation, and behind the door discussion is still ongoing. I want to be positive that there won't be strike to do.
One of the issues they are raising is the harmonization of salaries, on the assumption that some organizations pay more than the others and all of that. What's your take on it? Because the regulator here is the government.
Just like the issue of, the strength of the discussion right now is lying on the minimum wage.
Yeah.
And I'm sure which is the peg they give, which is about 30,000. I would want us to restrict that discussion around that. Because the issue of harmonization is a totally different thing. And you have to remember several parastatals, several agencies, several ministries have different rules they play. They face different risks. People in the oil sector, they will find themselves with a lot of risk. People in the health sector, people in other sectors, there are different parameters and conditionalities associated with most of these works. So government has a way, it actually, over the years, this has always been a discussion. But I can tell you, Labour knows their onions, they know exactly what they need, they have presented it to the government, and discussion is ongoing. I am so sure that this government that we're talking about, this is a listening government, they will come around it. And I'm telling you, NLC will not be partisan in how they handle their issues of the minimum wage. I can tell you that.
Now let's go to another issue. Right now, in your party, at the top echelon of your party, there seems to be some level of cracks, as it were. Some of the governors in the National Working Committee are not very much on the same page with the national chairman of the party. And a governor was quoted yesterday as saying that your party may stand a chance of losing over 5 million voters if the cracks, as it were, perceived, if they are, especially from the side of your national chairman, is not taken care of. Does this pose a threat to you?
No.
5 million is such a number for a governor of your party to say that.
No, that is just a statement from an individual that is going for an election
that controls millions of people in a state.
No. Governors are not controlling millions of people in the states. The millions of people in the states are Nigerians like me and you. They are only controlling the resources that take care of the millions of people in the state. I need you to understand that statement.
And that has a direct impact on the people.
Yes.
The policies that come up with are affect them directly.
But you have to know we are in the democratic government. Mm-hmm. We're in a democratic government where at the end of the month, the government has the mandate compulsory to pay salaries to workers. We're also in a democratic government, which at the end of the day, the government has the mandate and the compulsion to be able to take care of the welfare of its citizens. So you cannot relate that, or no governor will want to compromise the standard of his people or the welfare of his people for partisan reason. If he does that, he is clearly inviting anarchy in his area, because every state has people in different political parties, but they sometimes come together to vote for one person in a particular party. So those are statements of people they make, and they are entitled to their opinion. But I can tell you this: we have passed the era of military. You can't say a particular governor or particular person is in control of so million number of votes. It doesn't happen. You have to remember we have passed a stage whereby one person in a state or in an area will just sit down and say, vote this person. No. Nigerians are wiser, Nigerians are smarter.
But even senators, as it were, and other political stakeholders from your geopolitical zone, especially from the Northeast, have come to say, don't take this election for granted. Do not, take the PDP for granted. Even with rigging, chances are that you can still lose it out. That's from people in the constituency of even the president.
No.
Does that not raise concerns for you?
No, it is in every politics. Even in a position where a government has an opinion poll favoring it by 99%, you don't sit down and be comfortable and think everything is okay. We're in democracy, and remember that it's very possible for you to see how people will be disgruntled over several issues that have happened and to make statements. That's normal. We're not seated. I can tell you this. In every constituency of this country today, we have a representation. Not just federal constituency. I'm talking about from ward level to unit level. This party has a representation in several areas, even in states that are not governed by APC. And the message is simple. The president is interested in the infrastructure and developmental economy of this country, and it's glaring what he is doing. He's fighting everything he can to ensure that the welfare of Nigerians is sustained. The social welfare program is clear. The conditional cash transfer going on with the social welfare program is glaring. Infrastructure development is very glaring. Security situation is well faced. Corruption is being fought. People can now go to school and eat food. Children can go to school, and all these are programs that surround to the welfare of Nigerians. With all might, with all sense of reasoning and all sense of purpose, that this government is certainly going to have a landslide. If we continue with the fight we are doing now, telling people what they know, we try to run away from all these diversionary discussions around, I can tell you we'll have a feeling that at the end of the day, APC will come out on top by God's grace.
You're still watching the program Issues of the Moment, coming to you from Television Nigeria. And my guest is Prince Sule Iko Sami. He's an APC chieftain. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're still watching Issues of the Moment on Television Nigeria, and I'm still speaking with Prince Sule Iko Sami, APC chieftain. Once again, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were talking about how confident you are for 2015 election and how 2019 election rather, and how some of those coming from some of your party chieftains may not amount to anything as it were.
Yeah.
But this scenario played out in 2015 where dissident governors left the major opposition party now, then the party in power. 5 governors left. Some National Assembly members joined and all of that. We are seeing that playing out prior to 2019. Some of your governors have left your party, some of your lawmakers have left. There are threats of some more leaving due to the outcome of your primaries and all of those issues. You think that doesn't raise a dust for you?
No, you see one thing I want you to understand, my friend. Let me tell you this. You have to look at the two scenarios. In 2015, people were migrating to APC. They were leaving PDP. What were the reasons? In 2019, approaching, people are leaving APC. Some people are leaving APC. What are the reasons why they are leaving? Are the reasons holistic? Because an individual just decide to say, I'm leaving a party. What is your reason? If there are personal reasons, you have failed politically. Because we are in politics to serve the people. You have to always, I can give you several examples of politicians that have left party because they want tickets. Why would you leave a political party you work so hard to make just because you haven't gotten a ticket of the party? You are not only in the party for your own interest. You are there to serve the people. You should join the train and fight and ensure the person that succeeds there emerges. If you have contention, you go to court and fight it. If you emerge as the candidate, fine. You can still go ahead and win election. But in the essence of what? To serve your people. But in those are most of the reasons I feel they are personal interest. Let me go back to this in 2015. A lot of governors in 2015 couldn't pay salaries because the government couldn't support them to pay salaries. Resources are not there. There is insecurity everywhere. There is high rate of unemployment. There is massive corruption. High infrastructural deficit. And the future of most of them was bleak. So some of them felt that. And remember, as at that time, they were jumping to the opposition. They were opposition. Because they were so sure the government that is coming has integrity, quality to sustain very good economic policies.
Why don't you think that the people too that are going to have that kind of feeling that the next government that is coming might not be your government again, will have something to deliver to Nigeria much more better than what you're doing?
You know, us in the APC were very good students of history. And students of history always know that when you learn from what happened to you yesterday and a day before, you'll be able to sleep well, so you plan for tomorrow. When you come out to contest for any political office at any level, the history or the antecedents of such candidates are key in determining the electoral victory. And Nigerians are wiser, I can tell you this. If somebody is leaving the party because he feels that the other candidate will do better, then you go to the history and do your analysis. Previously, when such people were in power, were they able to deliver what this other person has delivered even when he wasn't a president, when he was just a head of state, or when he was heading an agency, which was PTDF then, or as a minister then? You look at his track record and compare to these ones that were even in government, they have all the executive powers to do that. Not talk about what that person has achieved in the last 3.5 years. Nigerians are wiser. They can see. So I can tell you this. In my opinion, most of the people leaving the party their reasons are very personal. I don't think the reasons are strong enough for you to leave a party. When you run for an office, just like most of us have done, if you lose or you are rigged out, there are many other ways to challenge for you to be able to fight that. You don't need to leave the party. Are you saying that when you move to another party and they didn't give you a ticket again, you also leave that party and jump again? Because every party now is full. Those ones that are moving to APC, they also come and meet other people there. They will have to manage them. Those ones that are moving to PDP, they also go there and fight. So the essence is that, are you fighting for an ideology or you are fighting for your personal interest? Because there's a national ideology about the country, Nigeria first. That's what we have for all of us, isn't it? If you know that somebody that is there is going to deliver ahead of you, why not? There are a lot of people that have run for office. They defeated some of us, and they have a lot to deliver. And there is nothing we can do rather than to rally around our party and support them. But if you question the competency of the candidate and the way at which that person emerges, you have a right to challenge it. The party has given many rooms for that. You can go to the appeal. If you are not certified, you go and challenge that person in court. It's not wrong. There is section 21 in the party that has, you exhaust all your grievances within the party. If you are not satisfied, you go to the next step. The party will not challenge that. I can tell you, the president has learned from that. In 2000, many years that he was rigged out, he didn't leave his party. He went to the court to challenge many things that has happened. When the court didn't eventually give him, he goes back and still fights again. Today he's the president of Nigeria. And he believes in the ideology of every citizen of this country should fight for what is due for this country, and Nigeria first is the key. So that's why I can tell you, I don't believe people that have decided to banter words around that they are leaving the party. I don't believe they are real. Some of them, they are threats out of anger. Some of them, they don't mean it. Some of them are personal. I can tell you that. And I can tell you, majority of Nigerians, if you say you are not with President Muhammadu Buhari, especially from the statistics we have been taking around, you have to have a reason. And the reasons around have not been convincing enough for us to think we will lose power in 2019.
Since the emergence of at the Port Harcourt Congress of the PDP, where His Excellency the former Vice President emerged as a flag bearer, there are feelings that he sent a lot of G3s down the spine of your party. That is one contender that can give it tit for tat to your presidential flag bearer. And since then, the APC has been said to be looking at ways of smearing his integrity, looking at ways and all, and place that vis-a-vis the fact that 2014, when the primaries were conducted, he was in your party. There was no case of corruption against him. He was said to have donated a lot of money for the campaign and to the person of the president today, and his private jet used for campaigns that the president used. But today, the tables have turned. There are allegations of corruption against him by your party.
I don't want to go into the discussion of hearsay in politics, but I can go to facts for you.
And the facts
are simple. I'm coming. The facts are simple. The fact is that President Muhammadu Buhari is the flag bearer of All Progressive Congress. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is the flag bearer of PDP, among several of them. Our party does not involve itself in a campaign of smear. We don't do that. What we spend our energy to do in our party is to demonstrate to Nigerians what we have done as a party. And that's what we are doing, and that's what we'll continue to do. We don't waste time discussing personalities and politics. When you do that, the message will be taken off. We have so much to tell Nigerians over what this government has done that to spend time mentioning about an individual. And I don't think this government is interested in that. We are not interested in that as a party, as a citizen of this country. I believe that Nigerians should be told about what this government has done, what it intends to do, and the progressive plans this government has always bestowed before Nigerians. So on the issue of other candidates coming into or getting ticket to send it to it, I don't agree with you. And the reasons are simple, which are these facts. As a politician, sometimes it's good for you to see a very strong opposition. It will make you sit up. We always love to see a very strong opposition. It will tell us messages we have forgotten to do, and we get it done. We listen to everybody, whether you're from any other party. When you mention things that are wrong, we're not doing, we'll get it done. So for the fact that somebody comes from any opposition party is going to challenge us at the poll, that is something that will be decided by the Nigerians.
Prince, one of your party chiefs was quoted as saying that if your party loses election, they won't hand over to the opposition in 2019. Now that's a very wrong signal.
No.
And coming from a known person in your party.
You see, I don't like to join issues with people that speak from that context. We are Democrats. This government of all government have believed in democracy more than any government we've had in the past. You know that. This government has not been influencing many things that ordinarily in the past PDP does in government. We believe in ideal democracy. If they run an election, we are going to win. So I don't even want to have a discussion that whether we lose. No, we are not losing. We are winning the election. So when we win the election, We'll carry everybody along, including the opposition, to form a better Nigeria.
But that kind of conviction is what makes people say that if you win, you may not relinquish power because you are too confident of the fact that you can lose. I mean, you can lose.
No, it's not about
any race is 50-50. What if you don't win?
We're not confident. We're only confident about our victory because of our track record. It's impossible for somebody to be undemocratic in making that kind of statement. It's unfortunate. If someone had made it, I think it's an error, but I can tell you this. We're ideal Democrats. We believe in democracy. We believe in the rule of law. And we believe in losing and also winning because we have lost before.
All right.
And we have won now and we'll win again. And we'll continue to win. And from the statistics, you have seen a lot of by-elections happen in areas that had so much noise that APC can win. We won. However marginal, we won, and that's to tell you, is the margin that will tell you that this government is a fair government. We give opening to everybody. If you win an election, we have lost so many elections and we have given it out to the winners from opposition. Why would you want to say that if we... No, that's not possible. It's a statement from people, maybe out of his own opinion, but I can tell you, from my own analysis and my personal opinion, I can tell you this government will win election. We'll have a field day by God's grace on that day because of our track record. And we believe so much in our track record, and that's what I can tell you. I can only speak to you from standpoint of the track record of this government. The government has done so well in every area that I mentioned to you earlier. So President Muhammadu Buhari, God's willing, will be 2019. What we are worrying ourselves is that if eventually God makes us to win, how do we sustain the good program that the government has started? How is the sustainability program going to be? How is the plan going to be when it's with the planning and sustainability of these good programs? That's what we should be thinking about, and also convincing Nigerians to see what we have done and the things we plan to do.
So as we count on to 2019, what's your last word to your party, Nigerians who are coming to the polls to vote for you and all of that?
My last message is that every member of the political party is very important in this country. Every Nigerian is important. Every political party member is important. So our party, I'm enjoining them in every district, every state, every constituency, to keep on setting dialogue committees that will continue to handle issues that have come up during the internal crisis within the party, and also continue to bring in other people that have lost, that ran away to other political parties, to bring them so that we can have a consummative victory in 2019. And we pray that our President Muhammadu Buhari has a very good day, continue to have good health, continue to do the good work he's doing, and we pray that this country remain one and remain peaceful. We hope there will be better Nigerians. Thank you very much, Nigerians.
Prince Sule Iko Sami, APC Chieftain, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
And that's our show for today. Join us same time next week. My name is Inten Ekbang. Bye-bye.